to the Gen X Remix, Midlife, Laughs, and Next Acts. Today we have a guest who has a lot in common with my philosophies, and we are going to have such a great conversation. I'd love to introduce Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. She is an international best-selling author, award-winning transformational coach, and internationally collected abstract artist. A challenge with spasmodic dysphonia once threatened her voice, but it actually then became a catalyst for transformation, leading her to embrace the healing power of art and wellness. As the host of Painting Your Path podcast, Clarissa helps midlife women break free from imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and societal expectations to rediscover their authentic selves. Through her signature programs, including Painting Your Path to Self-Expression, From Cubicle to Creative Life, and the Creative Leadership Summit, she has empowered over 4,000 creatives and professionals to step into their full potential. Her work has been featured in Voyage LA, Bold Journey, Medium, and top-rated podcasts. But her greatest joy is witnessing women realize that they can design their own path just as she did. So let's welcome Clarissa. Clarissa, thanks so much for joining us today on the Gen X Remix. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tabatha. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about our interview and learning all about you and what you do as a transformational coach. But I like to start by asking our guests to tell us about their greatest remix or their best remix story.
Oh my goodness. So many remixes. I feel like I'm the queen of pivoting and trying new things. And that was how my corporate life was. Honestly, in hindsight, because I was really trying to figure out, who am I? Like, what do I want to do in this wonderful life that I have? So I would say my greatest remix was getting the dream job that I always wanted, which was to be an internal professional coach. So I got to do that for 11 years. And I also knew for a long time, even before I started that job, that eventually my even longer term goal would be to work for myself. So in 2021, that's what I did. Was start this crazy coaching entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, that's been my greatest remix, is landing my corporate dream job and then remixing it to doing my own thing.
Oh my gosh, so many similarities. Loved what I did,
Yes.
but really wanted to do some things for myself. So I love that you share that
Right.
story and that was your remix. As the corporate escape Sherpa, I salute you.
Thank
So
you.
good. So good.
Likewise, sister.
Oh, I like to say there is life outside of corporate, believe it or not.
Yes.
If it's your jam, that's amazing. If it's not, that's amazing too.
Yes. You do you,
So-
as I like to say.
Exactly. So, oh my gosh. So, what a great way to kind of start, because I always like to know kind of what got you to where you are. I mean, you said that this was a goal for you. You got to do it in your corporate job, but tell us a little bit more about that journey.
So I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in the 70s, and my parents immigrated to the States from the Philippines. So our culture is very much like, make your parents proud. Not so different from lots of people growing up anywhere in the world, but in particular for our culture, I felt this real pull to be that good daughter, to be the good student, to get good grades, to go to a good school, get married, do all the things, right? And so I did that. Made my parents proud, had like a plethora of different careers. And yet I knew that deep down something was off. And also being a child of immigrants and trying to assimilate to the United States, even though I was born here, I felt very much in two cultures. And that was super hard for me to bridge together because they're almost opposites. And here in the States, it is very much very individualistic. Like I'm super unique. And I think that's so great. And as an artist, I definitely jive with that identity. And then the Filipino side of me was like, but you've gotta act a certain way and be professional. And so Tabitha, like honestly, my livelihood has just been about like letting go of all the shoulds on both sides to to just do me and help others really distill what's important to them so they can do what matters most to them.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if I answered your question.
You totally answered my question. Oh my gosh. I was just sitting here thinking, wow, being kids of the 70s and 80s, we were raised a little different. And anyway, right? Life was, this is what you do and this is your path and you find a job and you stick with it. You don't, you never leave.
Yeah.
And so, you don't want to upset anybody or anything. And I can only imagine how much more pressure there was being the daughter of an immigrant family, with different cultural values, different, kind of trying to blend into the two cultures and stay strong and on your path there can definitely be an interesting story, I am sure, and upbringing.
Yes.
So that's so good. And I know that as part of where you are today, well, I'm not going to say it that way. I'm going to ask you. So how do you feel corporate really helped you prepare for where you are today as you're running your own business?
I think when we so, I don't want to say desperately, but it's just a calling for us to go out on our own. I think for so many people, including myself, I almost wanted to discount my corporate life because in many ways it's different, but in many ways it's similar in that it's about building relationships. It's about being familiar with different departments outside your role. And I was in talent development. So I had the luxury of coaching high achieving executives, directors, managers, contributors. So that was my wheelhouse. But I knew that working for myself, I would have to get familiar with how do we run things, operations, marketing. God, who knew that on this journey, it's like 80% marketing and sales. And
Who knew?
who knew? Who knew? So I think, and me being a curious, collaborative person, I always made a point to connect with other people in different departments. And I really think that holistic approach has helped me as I navigate my business today.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I was taking a couple of notes because you said something that stands out for me with so many women I speak with. I also left corporate in 2021. I spent 4 years building my business on the side before I did it.
Good for you. I did not do that.
I highly recommend it.
Yes, I
because
do
there is a
too.
lot that we find out along the way, right? Oh my gosh. So some of the things you said, like discounting that corporate life. The interesting thing is everything we need, we got in corporate. We just have to translate it to entrepreneurship. It's like any other career transition, right? But it feels so scary. especially that first day when you're on your own and something goes sideways. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to call the IT department. You're like, oh shit, I am the IT department. Hold on, hold on. let me Google that.
Right.
Or
Who
the
do I
days,
know?
right? Or the days that you leave and you're just happy as can be, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to coach women all day long. I'm so excited. It's my
Right.
favorite thing to do. And then you're like, well, what do you mean if I built it, they're not just going to come? And I have 80% of my time now spent on marketing and sales and trying to figure out how I get in front of people. So it is a really interesting journey. And it's one that catches
Yes.
a lot of corporate escape artists by surprise. But, it's a really wonderful world out here. It's just that you have to be in that space of always learning and always being open to what could go right and what is the
Yes.
possibility, right? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And I love that question. What could go right? Because I think
Yeah.
our natural tendency is to ask what's going to go wrong. And I think we should think about that and prepare for it, like you said. And I think it's almost more important to think about, like, what is the best outcome that could happen, because I don't think we spend enough time doing that.
We really don't. Not long ago, I was speaking with someone. She was a new connection. I just met her. And she said, well, when do you take time to just dream? I'm a strategy person, right? I came
Yeah.
from leading technical teams. I'm very much strategy. And she said, well, when do you just take time to dream instead of writing out your SMART goals? Like, think about what's bigger, what's out there, what's beyond, what is the thing that maybe you haven't opened? And I thought, wow, that's kind of I don't know. I don't think I ever dreamed before. So
Yes.
we learn a
Yeah.
lot on this side of
Oh, for
corporate, and
sure.
it's so fun and so rewarding and some days so frustrating, but I
Yeah.
still firmly
I
believe
wouldn't
it's
trade it.
worth it.
I
No.
wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you have a framework that you call painting your path. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I love the painting
Yes.
piece.
Yeah, thank you. So in 2020, I published a book called Painting Your Path. And I selfishly did it because I had really been thinking about my transition to leave the 9 to 5. And I interviewed 21 women who were over 40.
Mhm.
And I just, wanted to learn from them. Like, how did they do it? Or, how did they prepare themselves? Because I thought, well, I can put on my organizational psychology hat on and do some research. This was my qualitative research project. So I interviewed all these amazing women, and each of them asked me, are you going to share your story in the book? And I really wasn't. I was really just going to have it be all about them. But because so many people asked me, and truth be told, I was scared to share my
Yeah.
story because I felt, ooh, what if my boss reads this? What if people in corporate read this? And I'm fully saying I want to leave. It's time for me
Yeah.
to, like, get on to my next chapter. But I dragged my feet. I finally put that to the side. And as I shared my story, I also reflected back, hey, I do vision boards. I love to dream. Everything has come true on my vision boards. So let me reverse engineer and ask myself, how have I been able to achieve my goals? And basically, that distilled into this painting your path framework. And the first step is to dream, like we just talked about. Because as adults, I think we tend to think that dreaming's for kids or people who are unrealistic. But I think if you're an entrepreneur or you work for yourself, you have to be a little bit unrealistic
Yeah.
so that you can really create this big vision that pulls you in. So that's the first step. The second step is to decide. Decide that your vision, your dream is worth it and that you're worth it. to really tap into that belief, even though it hasn't happened yet. You've had past success, so you can borrow that feeling of success to map it onto your big goal. The third step is to plan. And I know you'll appreciate this because you're a strategist, right? We do need to have some kind of plan to take us forward. And I think sometimes we can get scared, confused, and want to overplan. So, what I like to say is just plan your next couple of steps because I think more times we think that something's going to happen a certain way, but then come to find out, nope, didn't happen at all like we planned. So just having like the next couple of steps. And then step 4 is to be brave, which is basically to take action and test your plan, work your plan. And then step 5 is to reflect. And I think this is another area that people don't do enough, spend enough time. So reflecting back on your action and asking yourself, hey, what was easy? What did I enjoy? What was difficult? Where did things fall apart? And what did I learn about myself? I think that's also really critical because this is the biggest self-development journey. I don't know if you agree, Tabatha, but this is the biggest self-development journey ever. So those are the 5 steps. And I like to say at the foundation of that is having a growth mindset. So believing that whatever goal or vision you have with enough time, effort, and feedback, it absolutely can come true. And then the second part to the foundation is self-care. Because so many of us high achievers have experienced burnout. And this was another thing I didn't realize at the beginning was, okay, I was so happy. But then I quickly got back on that burnout wheel that I had in corporate. So you've got to take care of yourself and bake in that time to dream, bake in that time to rest, and do nothing so you can recuperate.
Oh my gosh, this is all so good. And we have so much in common, which is what I'm loving also. I find it really interesting that we do kind of have that toxic go, 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 go thing that comes with us from corporate, and we will fall back into those habits. That
Yes.
toxic productivity, right? It's just, I've got to be doing something, but it may not even be doing anything for you except burning you out.
Yes. Exactly.
Like, why are you doing that?
Like, yeah,
Why am I
like,
doing that?
yeah, like feeling like I had to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Facebook, Instagram, Facebook
Oh,
group, LinkedIn. I never got into TikTok, but just I felt like I had to do all this stuff,
yeah.
and
And
it
it's so
did
exhausting,
out.
right?
Yes,
Especially if,
yes.
are you the type of person where being with people and in the room with people kind of fills you up, or does that drain you more?
You know, I'm more of an introvert, but I can only take my company so long. So I had to go out into like coffee shops at least and just sit and be in the energy of other people, or go out with my bestie and just go work because too many days in a row when I'm by myself, then I start and I notice a pattern. I start to get lazy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, maybe I can just get to that another time. And yes, we need to take a break, but I'm a Taurus, so I'm an earth sign. I can be very slow to move and I love to luxuriate. So
Mm.
all these things I have to pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So another question for you. I'm just really curious about your answer. So do you see that piece of, I guess it's that shift where women who have measured their success for so long by their income, their bonuses, and their yearly review find that they have to start measuring success a little bit differently. And how are you seeing that translate in your world?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that was me too. So I think it had to start with me before I could really connect back to my audience so that,
Yeah.
they could feel my energy too, my shift. And I realized, like, I had saved up for this transition because I knew I was gonna probably burn some cash.
Yep.
It's
Faster than you expect,
right
people. Faster than you
faster,
expect.
faster than you would expect. So super thankful and grateful for that almost 30-year career because that's really what helped. But yeah, I really had to redefine success.
Mhm.
And I, so I would go back to what did I dream this next chapter in life would look like? And it really was about slowing down. It was about not feeling guilty that I'm going to go to the gym at 11 o'clock in the morning or go take a walk on the trail by my house. And so and then because of the burnout, I think that was part of the reason why I got my spasmodic dysphonia and I
Mhm.
got sick in 2023, and that's when the diagnosis came in.
Wow.
So I feel like the universe is talking to me, like you need to
Yeah.
slow down. And so I've really defined success by really taking a look at my business, and it has changed since 2020 is when I first kind of stepped out and did my first summit. Where I focused on moving from employee to entrepreneur. Now I'm more focused on helping people like just into themselves figure out
Right.
what it is that they want to express. And I do that through creative workshops, through mindful movement, through self-care, through journaling and conversation and coaching. So I really had to look at like what's in alignment for me to offer. And I'm doing that. And to me, that is success.
Yeah.
It's also letting go of the labels that I had
Mhm.
put on myself was so important for me to identify as an organizational psychologist, for example, or an artist, a transformational coach. And so now I'm just like, I'm a multi passionate human being who just really wants to support others on their journey in a creative, loving way. So that's kind of how I'm defining success for me and trickling it down to my clients because many of them are the overachiever, perfectionist, people pleasing, especially that one, the people pleasing. Like, what makes you happy? It's okay. It's okay to do some soul searching.
Oh my gosh, so good. I think people pleasing was ingrained in us in the 70s. I think that's
Yes.
a Gen X thing.
Yes.
I don't see it in the
I think
millennials. I don't see it in the
yeah.
Zs. Um,
I don't
boomers
need
maybe, but definitely is a Gen
yeah,
X thing.
definitely,
People pleasing. I think we
definitely.
were scared of our boomer parents, but lighten it up a
Right.
little bit on the kids. Like, we want you to be happy because we're not. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
so great. So much there. I was trying to think.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I'd written down so many things, but that was huge. The other thing that you mentioned, so the journaling, and you mentioned reflection being
Yes.
part of your process. What are some of the biggest ahas that you hear from your clients once they start taking that time to reflect and journal? Because I know a lot of us high achievers, we're not great
Yes.
at it. I do it. I force myself, I do it. But I'm curious to know what you're seeing when you have people do that and what's coming for them.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things, and I'm happy to share this with the audience because I think the people that I work with the most are the people pleasers. Nothing's like, they're not good enough. I certainly have felt that way. So, one journal prompt that I give them is just to go back and do an inventory of really powerful, memorable moments where they were happy, where they felt successful, and just write it out. Write it. It could be something from when you were 5 years old. It doesn't matter because there's probably a theme
Yeah.
in those stories. And then I have people go in and look for the patterns, see what they see. And for so many people, it is about finding their voice, literally, metaphorically, on social media, in their email communications. And so I know that like journaling can really help you remember, can
Mhm.
help you reconnect with moments that maybe you forgot about. And by having all this written down, anytime you're feeling insecure or feeling like imposter syndrome, whatever it is, whatever negative emotion, you have stories you can go back to and lean in on to remind yourself that you are capable and that you can do
Yeah.
hard things. So,
I love that. We're all capable and we can all do hard things.
yes,
And what
yes,
feels like such a terrible thing is usually just a blip. It's just a moment in time. And
that's
so many
right.
other great things have happened. I love that. Journaling can be so powerful. And I like the way that
Yes.
you recommend that people do that. Oh my gosh, that's so good. We could be talking all day, honestly. This is so great.
Yes.
So, one of the questions I know as we were kind of preparing is you have a motto you live by. What is that motto?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember what I wrote. But um I mean, I often say you do you. That might not be what I wrote down, but that's what's coming up for me. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way, where we're crapping on people or being self-centered. But what I appreciate about today times is that there's so much um, leeway for people to take the skills that they know, their passions,
Mhm.
and remix their own career, remix their own business. And that's what I've done. It's taken me a while to figure out how can I blend my artistic tendencies with my organizational psychology hat and coaching
Yeah.
hat and my love for nature and doing retreats and doing all kinds of things. And how can I put that together? And I think in today's society, that's way more acceptable than it was in the 80s, 90s. Back
Absolutely.
then. Yes.
Back then you didn't. See, people talk a lot of trash about some of the younger generations. I'm like, they've taught us some things. They've taught
Yes,
us
they
you can be
have.
both. You want to be both, or you want to
Yes.
be all four, you can be all four. You just need to figure it
Right.
out, right? I mean, it's something
Right.
that in self-care. I'm like, oh, that came from the millennials too. We'll take it. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, so good. So you do you. I like that a lot. Coming into 2025, everybody sets their resolutions or their goals or whatever. I set an
Yes.
intention this year, and it was to stop judging myself so harshly.
Oh, that's
We
beautiful.
judge ourselves all the time. And when you say you do you, I'm like, that just hits it one more time on the head. And whether that's a pivot, a remix, so to speak, right? So you said remix actually out loud. Thank you for that. I love it
Yes.
when people get the remix. But it's never too late. You're never too old. There's never any reason you can't do it. You just need to make a plan and make it happen. And,
Yes.
sometimes we get in that space and, I went through it a little bit in my business late last year where I was just feeling really burnt out. I was feeling really tired.
Mm,
I'd written a book. I'd done all the things. I was feeling
yes.
successful, but something was missing. And that's when I was like, you know what? Take your own advice. You do you. Like, nobody's
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, you can't go and do this because you already did that. I'm like, you can do both.
That's
So
right.
I love it. And letting go of that self judgment and just doing what feels right. And if it's a mistake, it's okay. That's how we learn. If you're not
That's
learning and growing,
right.
are you having any fun anyway?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's another great journal prompt too when things go bad
Yeah.
is to ask, like, okay, how else can I look at this and
Yeah.
journal about that so you're not stuck in, oh, this was a failure
Yeah.
or this didn't go my way. So I love that.
So
And
good.
my word for this year is
Yes.
surrender.
Oh,
So that's mine. Yeah. So, in a way, like letting go of the judgment, letting go of the outcome, letting go of that things have to be a certain way.
oh my gosh. I love that. Surrender. My hope is that everyone listening to the show not only has taken some great notes, but that they've taken away, they need to go write their word for the year. What is your intention? What is the thing you're going to do for yourself that's going to make your life even better? This is so amazing. I love just the inspirational nature of things. I love all the things you're doing. And that journaling is so powerful. So I know
Me too.
that our listener may want to go back and grab a couple of those prompts. I'll pop a few in the show notes. But I believe in the power of journaling. I sometimes get off track and
Oh,
I'll
me
go like,
too. I
oh,
don't
it's
do it
been
every
weeks. So what
day.
happened?
Yep.
But highly, highly recommend it. It makes a difference. I know clients see things all the time. I have people come to me and say that they've uncovered something that was holding them down. And I'm sure you've seen a lot come through in those reflection exercises and things that help people just
Yes.
move forward.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so good. So let's talk about the best way for people to connect with you. So, Clarissa, they're listening to this, they're like, oh my gosh, I want more of that. What is the best way for our
Yes.
listeners to connect with you?
So I also have a podcast called Painting Your Path. So feel free to check that out. And I think I gave you my link tree, Tabatha, which literally has all the ways you can connect with me. But as a free gift for your audience, I also do have my Painting Your Path framework guide if anybody's interested in that. Just to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what I talked about today.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So we will definitely get that into the show notes. Spoiler alert, I went out and checked out your links and downloaded that guide for myself. I thought, wow, I'm going to check this out and see what's happening out there. So definitely connect with Clarissa, check out her link tree for all of the amazing things that she's got going on. And she may be a fabulous connection for you. Also adding her podcast to your list of favorite pods. So we'll make sure that that's available to you as well. Oh my gosh. So, parting words, what's one thing that you want to make sure our audience takes from you today?
If you can dream it, you can do it. So, whatever that is, give yourself space to dream. If it's been calling you, you know that little voice that we all have.
Yeah.
If it's repeating something to you, pay attention. Pay attention. And I just want to encourage you to do it.
Oh my gosh. I love this so much. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Gen X Remix. This has been inspiring to me. I know our listeners have taken away some great nuggets, and we definitely look forward to staying connected. Well, you heard it directly from Clarissa. If you can dream it, you can do it. Be sure to check the show notes and grab her free gift, Paint Your Path, as well as look at those other links so that you can connect with Clarissa and continue to stay inspired. Her podcast also is amazing. Additionally, in the show notes, you will find a link to join my upcoming workshop that is created for those who are ready to start planning their corporate escape. It's called Escape with Confidence, Clarity, Purpose, and Action for Your Bold Next Act. And If you could do me a favor, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so that more listeners can find us. As always, stay fierce, stay focused, and stay fabulous. We'll see you next time.